Okay, that's a good spot, Holly. Welcome to HortTube. My name is Jim Putnam. This is the December garden checklist video. I do one of these each month, just going over the things that I'm doing maintenance-wise and installation-wise in my garden here in Raleigh, North Carolina, Zone 7B. We finally got some cold here in late November, had about a 25, 26 degree night, and it finally knocked back my flowering perennials and annuals, and so there's some cleanup of those things going on. But I'm still installing things here in North Carolina and Zone 7B and further south. You know, the soil doesn't freeze and you can continue to plant. I always talk about in these videos in the colder months only planting things that are really hardy in your area. So, you know, I'm not going to try to plant tropical plants that are barely hardy here, this time of year and then have them exposed to winter right away. But anything that's very hardy in my area, as long as we can dig in the ground, we can continue to plant here. Going to garden centers right now, you probably can find some deals. You know, they're all converting their spaces over to Christmas or full-on Christmas mode. And so a lot of times shrubs, trees, perennials, are available. And again, priced a little better. Here in the South, we can plant pansies and snapdragons and dianthus and some other flowering annuals. They won't put on a whole big show. There's some flowers on my pansies right now, but they won't put on a big show, but they're getting themselves established and they'll have a big giant spring show. The other thing that's planted out here in some of these annual beds is some garlic, and that garlic is up, and you can still probably find garlic available as well to plant. And again, I just intersperse them right into my annual beds. The big planting job I have for December is bulbs, and I have lots of bulbs. I have alliums, I have tulips, daffodils, hyacinths, crocus, and more. Videos to come on those. I actually got my most of my bulbs from Color Blends, almost all of my bulbs from Color Blends. They actually cold treated my tulips for me. I generally get them in and then put them in the refrigerator and do it myself, but I had them cold treated. It's a nice feature of buying them from Color Blends, as they came already cold treated. Those of you in northern areas don't have to cold treat your tulips, but we do down here in the South, and treat them as annuals. The other bulbs that are going in will be perennials, and again, videos coming on that. This is another thing you can probably find deals on right now if there's leftover bulbs at your local garden center. Again, if you're in the South and you're buying tulips, you probably want to put them in the refrigerator for a few weeks before you put them in the ground to make sure they get enough cold treatment on them. But everything else can just go right in the ground here in December. Be in every shot, aren't you? Okay. One other thing I like to think about in the garden here in December and during the winter time is inviting birds into the garden, and also winter interest plants. And so in this spot here, I've just recently planted this little dwarf cryptomeria. I did a conifer video this past month if you want to go through and look at some of the conifers. This is a little dwarf cryptomeria that, again, will add winter interest into this space. It's tiny right now, but it'll end up, 3 or 4 feet tall here in the future. And I'm next to a calicarpa, which this is a native plant to the southeast. These white berries that the birds have been slow to come to it this year to take them, but they're taking them now. Actually, it was full of birds when I walked over here to start this shoot, so I don't expect these berries are going to last very much longer. There are native hollies that the winterberry hollies that you can buy. Lots of not only winter interest things, but also things that will draw wildlife into the garden during the winter as well. As I'm cleaning out the summer annuals that have died back from the freeze and maybe neatening up some of the perennial things that are fading, like these rudbeckia here, as cleaning off the dead material off of them and planting bulbs, I am marking down, you can either use something like a golf tee here as these things fade away and where your bulbs are going in to mark that there's something there so that you don't plant something on top of them, or draw some sort of detailed map. And so if you start buying conifers like I just talked about, or shrubs or trees or whatever, that you aren't coming back in here and digging up perennial plants that have died to the ground, or flowering bulbs or something like that. So right here at the beginning of December, my fall vegetable garden looks fantastic. We've had, like I told you, one night in the mid-20s, and then a few frost, and that's been about it. And so most everything's held up pretty well to that. I can put a frost protection blanket over over the kale and broccoli and collards, some of the more cold hardy leafy things, and extend this season a bit, and that's probably what I'll do. The lettuce just tends to, in my area, kind of fade away. You know, once you get this kind of cold on them, they just won't get any more growth on them, but that's fine. So a lot of the other leafy things in here will continue to grow with a little bit of light protection. I'm done here in zone 7 being able to put any of this stuff in the ground. The ground temperature is now cold enough that I don't think I'll get a lot of new growth, but they can be, again, protected in the ground and continue to harvest them for the month of December. Those of you who in the deep south can probably, as long as you can find plants, continue to plant some of these fall vegetables, because your soil temperature stays warm enough to continue to get some growth on these cool season plants. I'm standing in what was a beautiful group of dahlias just 2 weeks ago, and we've gotten a hard freeze and again a couple frosts, and they've been knocked back. You can rescue tubers like elephant ears and caladiums and dahlias at this point. The tubers can be dug up and stored for the winter. I'm in zone 7, and my dahlias may or may not come back. The more established ones, like this one that's come back a couple times already, will likely come back again. Some of the less mature ones will probably die. I don't mind that because I actually collect the seed on these dahlias, and it can be done this time of year. As long as it's dry outside, dahlia seed is super easy to collect and store for the winter. I store them in little glass jars. And this is true of a lot of things in your landscape right now. I've got Rudbeckia that I really, really like, that's got some seed heads on it that I want to collect. There's some okra up above my head that is an old variety that I collect and store. I've actually already gotten a full glass jar from these already, and I got at least that much more to collect. So look around your yard. If there's something that was exciting this year and you see the seed on top of it, you can collect it right now on a dry day. Again, make sure it's dry, because if you store it wet, it will rot. And try it out. If you may want to look up what it is and see if it needs some cold stratification. The seed may need to go in the refrigerator for a few weeks before you germinate them in the spring, but most of them are actually pretty easy, and it's super fun. It's a super fun approach to gardening. So right here at the beginning of December, I got to think about container plants. The plants that I have in containers that are much hardier than my area, meaning like this boxwood is hardy up to zone 5 and I'm in zone 7. This boxwood isn't going to have a problem staying in a container outside during the winter time. I will check it occasionally for water because the winter winds can be a little bit dry, and water's a great insulator, and we want to make sure water's available to the plant when the soil's not frozen. And so, again, check the water, make sure the plants that you have in containers are very hardy. If not, if the plant's kind of marginal in your area or just hardy up to your area, you may want to put those in the garage. A bright garage that's unheated is a great place to store those kinds of things. Also, the type of container is important. These fiber concrete containers typically hold up really well to the freeze thaw of the water expanding in the containers and don't crack very much on me. Regular concrete containers and terracotta containers can be vulnerable to freezing and thawing and cracking, and you lose your entire container, so keep that in mind. Those you may want to store inside, or move those plants that you have in the containers into the ground. I mean, the ground would be great storage. For this cryptomeria right here, if I was worried about it for the winter, I could literally just pop it in the ground and then bring it back to this container in the spring. Most of the shrubs and trees that I've planted into this landscape are hardy here, and I'm not going to think about them during the winter time. We could get winter temperatures that could damage a couple things out here, but most everything will be fine. I do have this Indian hawthorn, this Rosalinda Indian hawthorn. It's definitely a zone 8 to 10 evergreen shrub, and here in my 7B edge of 8A maybe, this plant is definitely vulnerable to unusually low temperatures. I think it'll be absolutely fine if I have kind of normal temperatures through the winter, but if I was going to get something that was single digits, it was just kind of below our normal average lows, I might take a sheet or something and throw it over this. And so you might want to identify those things in your landscape before you get the severe cold that we typically get. You know, it's usually for us here in my area in Raleigh, the worst of our temperatures are probably December 20th to maybe February 1st. And so in that window, I want to be prepared if there are vulnerable things in my landscape to defend them against what would be single digits in my area. If you're in zone 6, it might be something that's slightly below 0 that would scare you. You know, if you're in colder or in zone 9, you know, you might be scared of 20. You know, the plants that you have in your area might be vulnerable to that. So kind of know what your averages are, and if you see something that's well below that, having already identified the things that are vulnerable will allow you to protect them. Beyond a basic sheet, there are a couple other things that help protect your plants in the winter time. One of them is water, and so make sure, typically we don't have to do a lot of watering in December and January here in the east, but it's been very dry, very, very dry this fall. And so I have had to water a couple times in November, and usually I just don't have to. So I'll continue to monitor that into November. Just make sure the ground is lightly moist at least. Again, it's a great insulator. The other great insulator is mulch. And so keeping the ground covered, and whether that's hardwood mulch or pine straw or whatever mulch you use, great. Leaves are also a great mulch, and I really kind of don't understand the process of breaking them out of the beds and putting them out on the road and letting the city take them away. There's a lot of beneficial insects that actually overwinter in these leaves, things that are good guys basically, that will help me out in the garden next year, so I don't want to kill them. And the areas that I am concerned about leaves is, number one, I want to get it off my lawn. I mean, for sure, I don't want leaves sitting on my lawn. I understand that, but these leaves that I rake up here are going to go on a compost pile back here, or they're going to just be raked right out into the bed. The areas that I worry about leaves is I don't want them here in my annual beds, and so, you know, where pansies have been planted, I will go through here and just kind of quickly clean that up. I've got a nice mulched area for them, and so these leaves will be thrown back in the bed. I'll go through on my shrubs, the hardier things. I'll just take a rake and, you know, literally just rake them off like this of the plant. The things that are a little more delicate, you know, I'll go in there and maybe do it by hand. The wind can blow the leaves up against a few things, and so you end up with, you know, the leaves just piled up, you know, against one plant like this. You know, I will go back through here and just kind of occasionally do this and just thin them out. But these are great. These leaves are great for keeping down a lot of the winter weeds like henbit and chickweed, which, you know, most gardeners are familiar with, will germinate this time of year and then take over your garden in February, you know, by the end of February. So, you know, those leaves are going to do a good job with that as well. Pruning is an interesting topic here in early December. Once your trees, like fruit trees, are completely dormant, that's the time of year that we typically prune on those. You really need to identify the things you have in your garden, and then from there you can Google and look up, you know, when is the appropriate time to prune them. If you're dealing with something like fruit trees, you may want to contact your extension agent like frequently. North Carolina State University here through our extension program in Wake County in North Carolina has a class in the winter, typically pruning peaches, pruning apples, pruning pears. Probably something in your area similar. If you want to learn, you know, the technical parts of pruning fruit, that's probably the best way to go about it. And they actually have field days where you can go and actually do it yourself. In terms of pruning shrubbery, you again really need to know what you have. This Loropetalum is going to bloom on old wood early in the spring. Whatever pruning I do on it now is going to take flowers off of it, so I would prune it after it flowers. My azaleas have set buds for next spring. Same thing. So be super careful. The only pruning I would do on shrubs at this point, if you don't know what they are, is just crazy limbs. You know, if you've got one branch that's, you know, 12 feet taller than the rest, or a foot taller than the rest of the plant, cut that off whenever. There's not a timing thing for basic cleanup and straightening up. Your evergreen shrubs like boxwoods or conifers, you can prune them now, and you're not going to probably hurt them, but they are going to look like that through the whole winter. So typically I just wait until February to do any pruning on those types of things. Perennials, after the birds have taken the seeds off your rudbeckia and you know, and your coneflowers and things like that, you can go ahead and cut those back to the ground. So a quick list of things before I wrap up the video. Make sure your hoses are disconnected from the house. If you have an irrigation system, you definitely need to be thinking about winterizing it, taking off your backflow preventer, that kind of thing. If you're new to a house that has an irrigation system, you may want to call somebody who does irrigation, and maybe they can show you how to winterize it the first year, you know, and going through the steps of winterizing your irrigation system. Tool maintenance, December, January, definitely a great time to think about getting the oil changed in your mower, getting the blades sharpened, on everything, you know, dropping them off with someone, or searching some YouTube videos and learning to sharpen them and clean them up yourself, pulling everything out of a shed and putting it back in and deciding, you know, how to arrange your shed a little bit better. And then hardscape things. Winter is great, better on the body, definitely, you know, doing your stone projects and path projects and fence projects and those kinds of things, building a compost bin, any of those kinds of things, great for the winter time. Make sure again, I talked about marking where you're planting your bulbs and where your perennials have gone dormant and that kind of thing, so you're not digging them up. Beyond that, you know, walking around right now while your memory's still fresh and writing down, you know, what went well this year, you know, what things did I do from seed that went well, what things did I buy and where did I buy them that went well for your annuals and perennials. Journal, you know, making notes of things you want to do. Again, I talk so many times on this channel about, you know, December is a great month to go to an arboretum and see what's interesting in December and January in a garden in my area. You know, if yours just looks, you know, like this in the winter time, if you're in it for 3 or 4 months, I guarantee you there are interesting things that have interesting bark, things that hold their leaves through the winter, beautiful conifers that can be planted in your area for winter interest. So December is the month of giving. Don't forget your gardening friends might like things for the garden. If you've got friends who enjoy birds, those bird feeders, bird food, those kinds of things make great gifts. Also tools that might make gardening a little easier for them. You can use the code right here on the screen and get $3 off a t-shirt from my t-shirt store if you're interested in that. Thank you guys very much for following along with these monthly to-do videos, and that completes another year. Thank you for following the channel.